If you are a 3D artist who is working hard every day and you put everything you can into your work, you keep improving, you keep studying, honing your craft, and doesn't matter what you do, it's just things don't get better, right? They don't improve. You hit the wall and wall after wall, and just frustration builds up, and you're basically thinking, it doesn't make any sense, right? Should I continue? What's going on here? So if that's you, this video is going to be fantastic for you, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about. I received a message from one of you guys, and the reason why I decided to make a video on this is twofold, right? One is because there's one thing in that message that really stood out to me, and two is because I can relate to it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to it too. Now, this video is going to be for patient people, because I'm going to read that message in full. So if you have a attention span of a goldfish, then go practice whatever skill that you're practicing on TikTok, and good luck to you. But if you're a patient one, then stay with us, because this is going to be good, right? So the message is from Abdullah Amar, and honestly, I've missed it because I don't check Facebook messages. If you guys want to message us, just write to info@markblenderbros.com or DM us on Discord, because we're not checking Facebook at all. Now, let me just read it for you, right? Hey Ponte, and by the way, just, Ryu is fine. Yo, what's good? I'm Abdullah, a 3D artist from Gaza, and I've been following your Blender Bros YouTube channel for a while. Your tutorials on hard surface modeling have been super helpful, especially for cleaning up my topology game. Big thanks for that. I'm reaching out to share my journey in 3D design and the struggles I'm hitting, hoping to get your take on this crazy industry. I kicked off with Blender in 2020, just a 19-year-old messing around, learning from YouTube and cheap courses. I was all over the place, making cheesy ocean scenes, bedroom renders, and goofy animations, thinking I'm gonna be the next Pixar. Got hooked on hard surface modeling, cars, weapons, game props. That's my vibe. I'd spent hours on models like Porsche Cayenne Turbo GT 2024, obsessing over every curve and edge. Got decent at UV unwrapping and game-ready assets, but my texturing is still a bit rough, if I'm being real. In 2023, I went all in and built a car add-on from scratch. Kinda like Traffic. Did it all myself, design, rigging, mods, even coded it with Sisyphus. For a guy in his third year of 3D, that felt huge. But then the war in Gaza hit, and it flipped my world upside down. Promoting the add-on? No way. Even finishing it was a battle with all the chaos. I tried selling models on CG Trader, but it's brutal. 40% commissions, stolen assets everywhere, and a market so crowded it feels like screaming into the void. I sold the bus model for $22 once and got $11 after the fees. Weeks of work for that, it's soul crushing. Now at 23, I'm stuck. I love Blender, it's my escape. Better than any game, but the financial side is killing me. The industry feels like a grind with no payoff. With high commissions, stolen work, and AI flooding the market, I use it a bit in my workflow, but it's no fix. It's hard to keep going. I'm thinking of turning 3D into a hobby and trying another field to pay the bills. 4 years of pouring my heart into this from 19 to now, and I'm wondering if it's even worth it anymore. Ponte, you've been killing it in 3D and sci-fi design. How do you deal with this frustration? Is there any way to make it work, or is 3D design just not what it used to be? Any advice for a guy like me trying to survive this field? Thanks again for your Blender Bros videos. Your tips on clean topology and 3D modeling saved me so many headaches. Hope we can stay in touch. Cheers, Abdullah. Now let's check Abdullah's portfolio on ArtStation. And you can see that it's clean, clean renders. Obviously he's into cars, you can tell, and rendering. And the mesh is pretty clean as well. It looks pristine. And there are only cars in his portfolio as well, just two, but that's fine. And this one looks clean as well. And that's the folio. And then there's also an add-on He sent me some all kinds of information here. Then we had a brief conversation, but he also sent me a link to his add-on on CG Trader. So, if you need add-on for cars and rigging, then there you go. Good reviews, and it looks really clean. It seems like he comes with cars, rig textures, some asset pack, and even the IS lights. I'm guessing for headlights and maybe the street lights. So it's a full package, right? And and he finished this during the war, so there you go. Then he also says something about receiving support from community, some other colleagues in the area who are very understanding. So it's nice to see the community coming together. But what I want to talk about is this frustration with having all this knowledge, right? And skill and will to do things and will to work and not being able to progress, right? It reminds me a little bit, in a way, of the myth of Sisyphus. I don't know if you guys know the Greek myth, but when I was a kid, we were studying that. And from what I remember, I think he was a Corinthian king, and he was known for messing around with the gods, the Greek gods. And at some point, they got pissed, annoyed with his jackassery, and they just cursed him. And the curse was that he was supposed to roll a massive boulder up a hill, and just before he reached the top, the boulder was slipping and falling down, and he had to start all the way up, right? And the story basically, the moral of the story is basically that, it's not about putting a lot of effort into something, because when you put an effort into something, there has to be a method that's going to actually get you to the destination. And I think the reason why it's so relatable to this, to this myth about Sisyphus, is because it's really commendable you put so much effort into something. We all do, and we all should. But if the method is incorrect, then it doesn't matter how much effort you're going to put in, it's not going to work. Now let me explain. In order to sell something, you need to either have authority or an audience you're going to be selling it to, okay? So let's say that you're working for Blizzard and you're a senior artist. Then you have an authority that you established through years of working on, in that position. But if you don't have that authority, you're going to have to build it. And the only way to build authority is going to be through providing value and building community. So what are you guys trying to do, selling stuff on CG Trader, Gumroad, Blender Market, Udemy is the worst probably, is you not only competing against a lot of people who are going to be chasing you to the ground because they're going to be just undercutting your prices. It's one. There's going to be a flood of nonsense on these websites, and anyone can post there without any restrictions. So there's a lot of fluff. And in addition, you're going to be buried in a mass, production of offers on these websites. You have so much, there's so many people, you just, good luck, basically, right? So it's not going to happen, right? So how to do it right? The only way, if you don't have authority, right? The only way to be able to sell, it's either through building, some sort of a website or your own portal and running ads to it, or building a community through, for example, YouTube, and building a following and doing the same thing, right? Now, ad game is very difficult, and I would not recommend you guys do it. Also, you need to have cash for it, initial cash, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna lose money. It's a bit like gambling, so I would not recommend it. The easiest and the most reliable way for most people would be as follows, okay? Think of what you want to do, and in your case, Abdullah, you like cars. That's great, right? You like cars, you got hard surface, but you prefer cars. That's fantastic. Focus on cars. Create a YouTube channel that's gonna be teaching people how to do that properly, right? And just focus only on cars. Whatever you do is just cars. Look at what we do on YouTube, right? When I started YouTube, my channel was like 4K. That was when we started Blender Bros, and the only thing I'm posting is hard surface modeling, sci-fi for Blender using add-ons. Sometimes I'm posting vanilla, stuff, and occasionally I'm posting plasticity, right? But basically it's sci-fi hard surface for Blender, right? Using add-ons. When I started to learn Blender back in 2019, so we kind of started in the same time, there were no tuts online that were actually covering 2.8 Blender. It was 2.79 course from the Creative Shrimp. It was the Madbot from Gleb Alexandrov and Adi Barrows, and that course was outdated because they updated later on, but the whole workflow was in 2.79, so difficult to follow in my opinion. So there was nothing basically, right? I went through half of it. I was like, and then it was nothing. So I was learning from YouTube videos from Master Xeon, which was really difficult because he was going at full speed using add-ons, and I didn't even know how to move a goddamn cube. So I was starting with 5 add-ons, Blender, in his videos, and it took me a long bloody time to understand how it all works, okay? And that's why all our courses and content focuses on one thing: hard surface modeling for Blender Sci-Fi. That's it, right? With add-ons, except for the accelerator, which is an introduction, but even that course has machine tools in it, okay? And bonus section for add-on workflow. And by the way, if you're interested in learning basics of Blender, then grab the course. It's fantastic. You can check it out on our website. The link is in the video description and in the comment pin under the video. It's called the Hard Surface Accelerator. Now, a bit later on, we chatted with Chip Walters, who is the creator of KidOps. He's a brilliant businessman, brilliant designer, and he's been doing a lot in the Blender space, and I really respect this guy. He's also a great guy to talk to. He's from he's from Texas. He's chill as hell, and he suggested us that we create a course, the Ultimate Guide to Hard Ops and Box Cutter, and we did that, and it was one of the best, or if not the best selling courses back then. And recently we dropped the 2.0. The same thing. People love it. Why? You see, when you want to sell something, right, anything, you need to find a market that needs it. So in order to sell something, you do not develop the offer first. You go and research the market, you find the market's problem, and then you see if you can solve that problem using your skills and expertise. See how it works? So in our case, what we had was a lot of people who wanted to learn these add-ons. There was no education on the add-ons, and there was no course on the add-ons, and there you go. Perfect situation, boom. And that's why it was selling so well. It's still selling very well, okay? Because no one has done it. In fact, most of the courses in Blender, if not all of them, are all using vanilla tools. We are the only ones who create courses using add-ons, right? That's our niche. And that's our specialty. So, like I said, if you want to sell something, you need to find niche in the market that has a problem, and you will solve that problem with your product. Now that's step 1. Step 2, you need to have access to that market, right? And that goes back to community. Now, I don't remember who it was, but I was watching an interesting podcast recently. When a guy said that if you want to launch YouTube channel, it's a resilience game, because the first 1 to 3 years is gonna be rough. YouTube's gonna work against you. Although recently YouTube algorithm changed a bit and the number of subscribers isn't that relevant anymore. The content is, the engagement is, the authenticity of the content is. So different, it's a slightly different approach. So it gives new people, new YouTubers more chance to get in. But you will still need to grind quite a lot to make it go. But that's the best and most reliable way of gaining following of people who gonna trust you. Because you see, if you're going to give first, then you can take. So what you do is, you create content on YouTube that helps people, helps solve their problems. And because of this, they'll trust you, but also they're gonna be, grateful that you help them save time and move on with whatever passion they have, right? In our case, hard surface. So if you help them with your free content, they'll be more than willing to buy from your paid course because they know they can learn from you. Do you see how it works? So if no one knows you and you don't have authority, it's very unlikely gonna sell something. It doesn't matter how good you are. And I give you another example. Look at YouTube. You have so many people who cover songs and they're really good. Some of them are better than the original artists. But the only way for them to be discovered is for enough people to see them. And then eventually maybe the original artist is going to, watch their song and they explode. But, it's usually a numbers game, which means you need to do it many times, consistency, and eventually gonna, your content will find traction, okay? It's gonna be a lot of trial and error. You have to try this and that, but basically the most important thing is to focus and do whatever you feel that you like doing. Now, going back to money, right? Before you're going to build community, right? I would really consider finding some other means of income. And this is why I was saying that I can relate to this situation because I was in this situation, okay? When I was doing photography, it was, I had great skill, I had great results, people loved my work, people loved my teaching, whatever, I had students, clients, whatnot. But the problem wasn't the skill or delivery. The problem was me ignoring marketing and business completely. I mean, like completely, right? I was completely arrogant and ignorant and thought I don't need it. I couldn't be more wrong, okay? Then we met with Josh and started Blender Bros. Since day one, we were working towards improving our marketing and business knowledge. And for the past, 5.5 years, we've been every day studying marketing and business. In fact, we're doing more marketing and business studies or work than actual modeling. I think my work right now is going to be 10% modeling and 90% of business and marketing. I'm not even joking. That's how much time and effort it takes to run a business. So, that will be path number one, right? So if you want to go that path, then you can start, your YouTube channel, start building a following, start learning about business and marketing. Then you can build your own portal, preferably on, website like Go High Level. You could also go with Kajabi, and then build an offer over there. Learn how it all works, how to build an offer, how to build the bump, absolutely, the funnel, the flow, how to build the email list, which is really important because then you see, like when you're on Gumroad, it's different, but if you're on Blender Market, you do not own the client list. You can mail them, but you don't own the list. Problematic, right? On your own website, you own the list, which means you can nurture the list, you can send them value, you can mail them with offers, etc., right? So it's a very different dynamic, but you need to build it. It takes time, right? And without knowledge of marketing and business, it's not going to work. I see so many people out there on the internet, especially in Blender space, who have no fucking idea what they're doing. None. Because if you think that revenue from ads on YouTube, from educational channels going to make you money, you have another thing coming. It's extremely low because it's educational space, not entertainment space or business space. Business and marketing pays the best. Entertainment is second and education is the very bottom. Right? So the ad revenue, forget about it. Then commissions from selling affiliates, on Blender Market, whatever add-ons, etc. It's lunch money, okay? Lunch money. You could make a little bit from it, but it's not going to be life-changing, okay? Now, third one is going to be promotions, like for example VPN, tablets, whatever, right? It's a good injection of money, but that's not how you're supposed to be running a business. That's just like two kids playing, having fun playing business, okay? But the ad revenue, the commissions from affiliates and the ads for companies that will be willing to place ads in your videos, this could actually get you started, right? Especially if you're living in a country when it's cheaper, like a third world country, right? So this could be extremely helpful to get you out of the necessity of working for someone else. So, having another job, because going back to my photography, what I want to say is that I actually had to take additional work to make enough money back then, right? So there were moments when I had no choice, and I was working 2 jobs, so like night and day. It's really tough. And I was older. You're 23, so you're fine. I started, Blender when I was 44. So you still have a lot of energy, man. I know it's a difficult situation. I know there is a war. It's fucked up. But let me tell you, tough situations breed tough people. And if you still haven't given up, that's actually why I'm making this video. because I actually respect you a lot. Because I read this sentence here when you said, how do you deal with frustration, right? So you haven't given up yet, and then you said that the blender is an escape and is better than gaming. See, these two things made me want to make this video, right? Because if you haven't given up after all this, it means that, you know, you're basically close to indestructible, okay? So what you need to do is not to give up on your passion. Just at the moment you need to recalibrate, you know, your goals and assess the situation. First, sort out your survival and, you know, the immediate surroundings, housing and all that, and job and just food, etc., the basic necessities. And just your goal is to get back to where you left off, and arm yourself with that knowledge, and you will know what to do. And if you need to leave the country, fucking do it. I did. Do you see what I mean? So there's always a way. There's not a guy on our Discord who wants to leave. He's in Pakistan and he wants to leave too. And he's doing every fucking thing in his power to do it. Right? So listen, when there's a will, there's a way. And let me tell you, people who have difficulties, people who struggle, they're usually the toughest motherfuckers on the planet. As long as it doesn't kill you, it's gonna make you fucking strong, right? So don't give up, because you got skills. You build these skills. The only thing you need to do is figure out how to, you know, how to get out of the ditch right now, okay? So do it one by one. There's a fantastic anecdote that my grandma told me, and my family is nuts, completely nuts. You know, the roots of my family are all over the place. But my grandma, let me tell you, okay, some personal bit. My grandma was born in China. She's not Chinese. She was the daughter of a Polish surgeon and Georgian countess, and not the Georgia in States, the real Georgia. Okay, no offense. And they were running away from China for obvious reasons and ended up in Poland. That's how my mom met my father. But my grandma had a very colorful life, and she had so many stories. So the story goes like this. There's a thief who gets into an apartment, right? He looks for valuables, and suddenly there is a noise in the lock, you know, a key being turned, and someone gets in. The owner, most likely. So he looks around the room, finds a big chest, hops in, sorted. Now the owner comes in, makes a cup of tea, sits down, reads a newspaper, and, you know, the time starts flowing. And the guy in the chest gets uncomfortable. It's very hot. You know, he can't breathe much. And he starts thinking, what the hell am I going to do? So he starts shouting, fire, fire, like in IT crowd, yeah, exclamation mark, fire. And it sounds kind of like coming from behind the wall, because he's in a chest. So the owner panics, and he's like, holy shit, fire, right? And starts looking for, you know, valuables, you know, money, whatever, some jewelry, whatever. Grabs it and stands in the middle of the room. He's like, holy shit, what am I gonna do? And the guy in the chest says, don't panic, right? The first thing you need to do is bring the chest outside. See, when you're in a ditch or a difficult situation, you ain't gonna be able to think straight, which is when, you know, friends and family comes in very handy, because they're gonna, you know, slap you in the proper groove. But you know, you're going to be panicking and trying to sort immediate problem, which is gonna be, you know, food, housing, etc., safety, whatever. So do that, and later on, right, focus on other less important things, or things that are, you know, not essential to your survival. Okay, that's what I would do, right? Long story short, you shouldn't be giving up at all. The 3D design industry hasn't changed other than AI was introduced. It was always difficult to get in, and unless you're going to get juiced into some company or find work with some company, you know, which usually is not well, let me tell you, most of these junior positions, you know, people are being really abused over there, and they work long hours, and, you know, there's crunching and all that, and it's just, you know, it's really, it's not an easy job, and the pay probably isn't that good in a junior position anyway, right? And now we will live in the age of internet, when, you know, you can just run your business from anywhere, and you have freedom. Which is why I never wanted to work for a company, or for a gaming company, because, you know, that's not what I want to do. Fuck that. I don't want some fat bastard tell me what I have to model. I want to model what I have fun with. Do you know what I mean? So if that's you, then hey, teach people what you would want to model. See, for example, every single model in our courses is something that I wanted to model. Ship for plasticity, always wanted to make a ship. The truck in the recent course, I love sci-fi trucks. I always wanted to make like a bulky Russian sci-fi truck. There you go. See, I'm having fun. So, that's how I would approach it. But in order to get there, you need to do all these steps, right? So you need to follow the proper procedure. So educate yourself on, eventually when you have time, educate yourself on business. There are so many people out there online. You don't even have to buy any expensive courses. You can buy books. There's a lot of really good books. There's a lot of good channels on marketing and business, like Alex Hormozy, Alex Becker, William Brown, Iman Gadzhi, Sabri Subi. There's just so many people, right, that can teach you about marketing, and how to actually properly do. Graham Cochrane, another one, who actually was the first guy we started with. A very cool guy and very nice chap, and he's gonna teach you how to get to your first $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month, right? So these guys I would follow, and I would start really learning how all this works on internet, all right? Because money, there's tremendous amount of money to be made on internet if you know how to do this. It's a lot of work, but it's more money than you would ever make in a company, unless you're really like, some crazy higher position, which you're not gonna get to in your 20s, okay? Probably, right? Especially now in the gaming industry, right? So it's not that easy anymore, right? As it used to be, because of AI, and also because of the fact that there's more competition, right? But online, you see, you can think of what kind of niche you could pick, and all you need to do really is just think what you really want to do. Make sure you're doing something that you really want to do, because you see, that's a good example. Like, you're in a tough spot right now, and even though the situation is very serious, you still don't want to give up because you really like what you're doing. See how important it is to do something that you really like, right? So that's what I would focus on, right? And I would never start doing something else or jumping on something else because it might seem easier, or it might seem, I don't know, better money or whatever. No, you just gotta stick to what you really, really want to do. Because if you truly believe in something that you're doing, you will find people that are gonna follow you. That's it. Because it's like a charisma, right? If you just simply show them the way, they will follow you. Because if it's fun for one person, there's a good chance it's gonna be fun for a lot of people. There's 9 billion people on the planet. There's a lot of people doing 3D. Massive market. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, going back, get yourself out of this difficult situation, sort out the immediate problems right now, find something to pay the bills. It is what it is, man. And then I'm pretty sure that you're gonna find a way. But if you really want to make money, then I would not even consider it for 1 second selling stuff on CG Trader, Blender Market, or Gumroad, like models, for example, right? Or even courses if you don't really have any great following. There's a lot of great add-ons on these websites that no one really knows about. It's like, look at Steam, for example, right? Steam has so many fucking games. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of games, really good ones, that no one knows about. And they're probably way better than AA games. Because AA games now, these days are shit, right? But they have money to promote their games. So it doesn't mean that there are no good indie games. It just means no one knows about them. Because they simply have no power to promote them, right? So they have to rely on the community, and community is gonna be massive going forward. Going into the age of AI, when people are gonna be isolated, people gonna be alienated. It's gonna be more so than it was during the COVID era. Okay, COVID era was isolating people, and you can imagine that it's going to be even tougher than this, right? More pronounced, because It's going to be on a global scale, and not just, you know, sort of getting better, but it's going to be getting worse, right? So we're going to get more and more isolated. And community is going to be massive because people will crave human contact, because we can't live without human contact. Okay? So anyway, listen, another thing, join Discord. Any of you guys, by the way, join Discord, because on Discord we have, you know, about 8,000 people. There's a lot of people in the industry, and there's a lot of people with connections. There's a lot of people, you know, talking about jobs and all that. So join and keep networking. And in addition, we are so busy with Josh doing Blender Bros stuff that we don't really accept any jobs from clients. So when we get a job from a client, we usually, what we do is, you know, look at our Discord and we find someone who excels at something, and you just, you know, ask them, listen, would you like to take on this project? Because a client, you know, approached us and we don't have the time. So we pass jobs to our students. So it's one of the many benefits of, you know, being on our Discord. So, you know, hop in and maybe something's gonna move for you. But again, building communities and staying within communities is going to be one of the biggest things going forward for anyone and for any industry. Okay. So anyway, guys, that's it for the video. Abdullah, listen, cheers, mate, for sending me the message, and also for agreeing for me to make a video, because I think that, I mean, guys, let me know in the comments, right? But I think that a lot of you can relate to this on many levels, right? Many levels, you know, if not one, maybe even two things at the same time. So let me know. I'm curious. And if there's, you know, if there's some topic coming up in multiple comments, I might actually make another video on that. So, you know, let me know, yeah? And, you know, guys, all the best to all of you. And Abdullah, keep it real, man. Don't give up. And things gonna improve, mate. They always do. Last thing, universe is a funny thing, you know. When you get older, you will remember more things that went wrong in your life. But when something goes wrong in your life, something, you know, gets fucked, and you know, it seems like the world is ending, there's usually something good coming. And from a perspective of a few years down the road, you will see that whatever happened to you was actually a blessing. It's really true, but it's all about how you're gonna approach it. I had many weird things happen in my life, many dramatic things, and usually, if not all of them, were actually benefiting me in the long run, right? So I wouldn't be here talking to you guys if these things wouldn't happen. So it might seem like a tragedy today, but, you know, time's gonna pass and things gonna improve, and I think it's gonna turn out all right. So keep it real, yeah? Thanks, guys, for watching. And again, if you want to learn Blender, if you're intermediate or beginner, grab our course, the Hard Surface Accelerator. It's fantastic. We have way over 4,000 students right now, and they absolutely love it. It's a brilliant course, very tight curriculum, and it's going to teach you, you know, very quickly all the basics for hard surface. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.